All right, folks, chime in if you can hear. Doing this on Neil of the North, quite frankly, because of watch time. But going back from Texas, everybody asks about hogs. Smash that like if you would, please. This channel obviously has a lot less distribution than the other channel. But thank you, folks, for doing that. So when I was down in Texas, everybody's asking, hey, did you shoot some hogs? Did you shoot some hogs? Shoot some hogs? The answer is no, and there's actually some good funnies in there, and I will get a video done of that. I'll just give you one. My son was picking cacti out of his behind because he fell over in a cactus. Anyways, hi Nathan. Anyways, so that was part of it, and yeah. So anyhow, and my other son's driving, and he's in traffic. And to be frank, I was a little worried there, as we came up slamming on the brakes here. Texas traffic just decided to come to a standstill. But here's the thing: I'm going to give you a tremendous book recommendation. Constitution Vet got me this book, and I haven't read the whole thing yet. But yeah, Pincushion is right. Anyways, but chime in if you've read this. Empire of the Summer Moon. Okay? Empire of the Summer Moon. Have any of you, just Scotty, go get them Aggies. Oh, man. Hey, you know what they wanted for an Aggie hat, just Scotty? $35. Are you kidding me? That was at Buc-ee's. We did have the brisket sandwich at Buc-ee's, folks. It was not as good as the barbecue joint we went to, but it was pretty darn good. Best gas station food I've ever had. Yeah, 35. I'm not even kidding you. 35. Anyways, but this book, and I've already read through that much of it the other night. I found it tough to put down, but it was a lot of going back. Aggies. No, it's Aggies, folks. I did not say Aggies. I said Aggies. Don't do that to me. Anyways, this book here, one of the things about history is it's complicated. People try and break this down to, and I think Constitution Vet had done that video called History is Great. So the Empire of the Summer Moon, I'm telling you, you got to read this book. Okay, if you think that it was a bunch of peace-loving indigenous folks like the schools have been, and all of a sudden, the white folks, no, the Comanches were destroying every other tribe that came anywhere near what they claimed to be their hunting grounds. That is the history of man, folks. Okay? Aggies, there you go again with the Aggies. It's Aggies. I said that egg is an agricultural. Aggies. Anyways, garbled audio, huh? I wonder why. Thanks for letting me know. Does this make it better? Let me just try and adjust this here, folks. Is that better audio? Okay, better audio here, I think. All right, so if you don't know what, I'm going to go over this way. If you haven't read a lot of Western history, he's just saying bad connection, huh? Are you in the hills or the mountains? I am in the... Actually, it's fairly flat around here right now. Are we in Waco? Yeah. We're in Waco, Texas, home of Branch Davidian, folks. That's where we are. Okay. The Native Indians, exterminated, genocide. Yeah, exactly. That's the whole issue here, folks. History is not. This road. Come on, Texas, get your roads a little smoother. You're understandable, just slightly garbled, not terrible, better now. Thank you, folks. It's a 5-star out of 10,000 reviews on Amazon. This book's phenomenal, folks. It's brutal. It's brutal. But the thing is, it was brutal. Here, I'm going to give you a little bit of reading here, folks. Okay, I'm going to give you just a little bit of this. This might get you. So, this is about Quanah Parker. Quanah Parker was, and it's about Texas. It's the history of Texas, because this was the last stand, if you will, for the native tribes. The Comanches never made a treaty with with the European folks, okay, the whites. They never made it. They never made one with the Spanish folks, okay, with the folks down in Mexico. They would not make treaties. They wanted to live life on their terms, and it was brutal terms, okay? So Quanah Parker is actually a half-breed. Is that appropriate to say? I don't know. I mean, you know, it might be bad to say it that way, but so if you go down, and I don't know if you know the Kiowas, which were another very violent tribe, if you've read some Western history, but I mean, they were nothing compared to these folks. And there was a raid on this Parker family, and actually, Quanah, who was a Comanche, his mom was white, and she was taken by the Comanches while her aunt, I believe was basically gang raped in front of her when she was 12 years old. And they were after the Indians stopped for the night. They picketed their horses, made a fire, then began a victory dance that reenacted the events of the day, displaying the bloody scalps of their 5 victims. So they had killed 5 people, okay? The dance including striking the captives with their bows and kicking them. Rachel, who along with Elizabeth Kellogg had been stripped naked, describes the experience. They now tied a plaited thong around my arms and drew my hands behind me. They tied them so tight that the scar can be seen to this day. They then tied a similar thong around my ankles and drew my feet and hands together. They now turned me on my face and then commenced beating me over the head with their bows. And it was great difficulty that I could keep from smothering in my own blood. Along with the adults, Cynthia, Ann, and John were kicked, stamped, and clubbed. So was 14-month-old James Plummer. Often did the children cry, wrote Rachel, but were soon hushed by blows I had no idea they could survive. The 2 adult women were raped repeatedly in full view of the bound children. It is impossible to know what's brutally beaten, cut, and chaffed from the long ride, and now forced to watch the degradation, torment, and misery. Rachel was the one who was actually writing the journal, okay, and Cynthia Ann Parker was Quanah's mom, okay. So interestingly, you look at this, and the Europeans pushed into this frontier, the Parker clan. They were completely unprepared, which is really crazy because they should have been prepared for this. Because, folks, they knew they were out on this. So if you know, I'm going to show you a map of Texas. Hopefully you can see this. So let's see if we go like that. Okay, so you see that? Okay, now if you go right up here, okay, see this Palo Duro Canyon, adobe walls, and this is the Llano Estacada. That is where it was Comanche country, and they guarded it fiercely. It was their bison hunting grounds, okay? Yeah, please smash the like button if you're on. And if you haven't subscribed to my Neil of the North channel, please do. But so they were out at the very edge. There was nobody beyond the Parkers. They had actually a great defensible position. They had even built a strong gate. But the day that the Comanches showed up, folks, the gate was wide open. The people weren't even armed. And so they come riding up, and the Comanches end up killing 5 of them. A few of the folks escaped, and they were back along the river and getting just bloodied from the cacti and everything like that. But I'm going to bring you to another point, okay? So it starts like this, folks. This is a good start to it, but the person's a good writer. Cavalrymen remember such moments. Dust swirling behind the pack mules, regimental bugles shattering the air. Can we get this quieter? Can we get at a speed where it's, thank you. Cavalrymen remember such moments. Dust swirling behind the pack mules, regimental bugles shattering the air, horses snorting and riders tack creaking through the ranks. Their old company song rising on the wind. Come home, John. Don't stay long. Come home soon to your own chickabiddy. Chickabiddy. Who talks like that anymore?
The date was October 3rd, 1871. 600 soldiers and 20 Tonkawa scouts had camped on a lovely bend of the Clear Fork of the Brazos in a rolling, scarred prairie of grama grass, scrub oak, sage, and chaparral about 150 miles west of Fort Worth, Texas. Now they were breaking camp, moving out in a long, snaking line through the high cut banks and quicksand streams. Though they did not know it at the time, the idea would have seemed preposterous. The sounding of boots and saddle that morning marked the beginning of the end of the Indian Wars in America, of fully 250 years of bloody combat that had begun with the first landing of the first ship on the first fatal shore in Virginia. The final destruction of the last of the hostile tribes would not take place for a few more years. Time would be yet required to round them all up, or starve them out, or exterminate their sources of food, or run them to ground in shallow canyons, or kill them outright. For the moment, the question was one of hard, unalloyed will. There had been brief spasms of official vengeance and retribution before. James Shivington's and George Armstrong Custer's savage massacres of the Cheyennes in 1864 and 1868 were examples. Which, by the way, going up there, Minnesota has a strong place in that history. So that's where the massacre took place up in Minnesota, which then demanded that retribution from the folks. Sounds funny. Thought it was just on my end. Huh. All right, just trying to check your comments here, folks. And because I'm just a fixin'. I'm a fixin' to get back to this. I've been down in Texas, and I'm just a fixin' to do things now. Okay, so but in those days, there was no real attempt to destroy the tribes on a larger scale because there was no stomach for it. That had changed, and on October 3rd, the change assumed the form of an order barked out through the lines of command to the men of the 4th Cavalry and 11th Infantry to go forth and kill Comanches. It was the end of anything like tolerance, the beginning of the final solution. The white men were grunts, bluecoats, cavalry, and dragoons, mostly veterans of the war between the states who now found themselves at the edge of the known universe, ascending to the turreted rock towers that gated the fabled Lana Estacado, Coronado's term for it, meaning palisaded plains of West Texas, a country populated exclusively by the most hostile Indians on the continent, where few U.S. soldiers had gone before. The Llano was a place of extreme desolation, a vast, trackless, and featureless ocean of grass, where white men became lost and disoriented and died of thirst. A place where the Imperial Spanish had once marched confidently forth to hunt Comanches, only to find that they themselves were the hunted, the ones to be slaughtered. In 1864, Kit Carson had led a large force of federal troops from Santa Fe and attacked a Comanche band at a trading post called Adobe Walls, north of modern-day Amarillo. He had survived it, but had come within a whisker of watching his 3 companions of cavalry and infantry destroyed. Okay, the troops were now going back because enough was enough, because President Grant's vaunted peace policy toward the remaining indices, run by his gentle Quaker appointees, had failed utterly to bring peace, and finally because the exasperated General-in-Chief of the Army, William Tecumseh Sherman, had ordered it so. Sherman's chosen agent of destruction was a Civil War hero named Ronald Slidell McKenzie, a difficult, moody, and implacable young man who had graduated first in his class from West Point in 1862 and had just finished the Civil War, remarkably as a brevet brigadier general. Because his hand was gruesomely disfigured from war wounds, the Indians called him No Finger Chief or Bad Hand. A complex destiny awaited him. Within 4 years, he would prove himself the most brutally effective Indian fighter in American history. In roughly that same period of time, while General George Armstrong Custer achieved world fame and failure in catastrophe, Mackenzie would become obscure in victory. But it was Mackenzie, not Custer, who would teach the rest of the army how to fight Indians. As his men moved across the broken stream-crossed country past immense herds of buffalo and prairie dog towns that stretched to the horizon, Colonel Mackenzie did not have a clear idea of what he was doing, where precisely he was going, or how to fight Plains Indians in their homelands. Neither did he have the faintest idea that he would be the only one largely responsible for defeating the last of the hostile Indians. He was new to this sort of Indian fighting, and he would make many mistakes in the coming weeks, and he would learn from them. So what happens is, I mean, he goes out there and makes big blunders right off the bat, folks, but he learned from his mistakes, and it's kind of the lesson of our time, right? So, you know, I want you to think about like CanCon and Nick's channel, right? They're down, okay? And you could say it's a blunder. Maybe they didn't use the right words, whatever. I don't know that it's so much that as it is just them trying to get the word out. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter because we may make mistakes along the way. And Nick did not have a locals channel even set up that he was posting to. So he had done that. But now he does. He's doing that today, getting his locals channel set up. Okay, so he wasn't fully prepared for what took place. I don't think he fully expected it, but it did happen, okay? And now he's able to adjust, and we are going to have to make our adjustments just like this general did if we're going to win this long-term war, because it's an information and technology war, folks. That's what this is, okay? Oh, there's Jewish blood in their veins. Interesting. So there's so much interesting to history, folks. They are discovering all the time new things that wreck the old narratives that they once held dear, okay? So don't think for a second. So like if we go back to Bible history, we've long been told, oh no, you know, this is, geologists have proven this. Geologists haven't proven jack diddly squat that the Bible isn't true, folks. It hasn't happened. In fact, there's more in geology to prove the Bible is true and biblical history is true than that there isn't. This earth, I'm sorry, has not been around for billions and billions of years. Some of you probably disagree with me on that. That's okay. You can disagree with me. I still love you. But the fact of the matter is, the Grand Canyon was the result of a great flood. And every culture has a history of a flood. Okay? I'm headed to Wichita, Brenda. I'm on my way. I'm just going straight north from Waco to Wichita. So I just saw your comment. Yeah, hi, Independent. Hi, Carol. Regina. School of the World. Fine Patriot, folks. I love you, folks. Teddy Bear Blue. How's it going? So, Izzy Dogs is on. No, it hasn't. So you're right, Neil. Thank you, Vanessa. Yeah, this... and I'm sorry, the camera on this thing is just horrendous. Do you see that? It's like, my gosh. Let's see here. Oh, see, like if I can get shadowed out, like, oh. Do you see how terrible that camera is? Anyways. You know, oh, I heard him say hunting, and I wondered if he had hogs up there. So, Sherry B, yeah, the hog hunting. I've got video. It's interesting. My son was picking cacti out of his behind, okay? So, anyways, but this book, I've read a lot of Western history, folks, and this whole narrative that the left tries to portray about Native Americans and European settlers is a bunch of crap, okay? The fact is, these were warring tribes. These were not peace-loving indigenous people who had no problems before we came along. You have to understand that history is the story of conquest, okay? Now, one of the amazing things about America, right, and I've always appreciated this, is in more recent history in the last century, you can look at World War II, and America was not a nation that conquered Germany to then gain more land. We fought at that point, and we entered the war too late. There's no doubt about that, okay? It took Pearl Harbor to get us to enter the war. And many people don't know this, but our initial salvo into World War II was not Japan, it was not Germany, it was North Africa. How many of you knew that? We went into North Africa. That was our first real salvo into World War II. And then, of course, we did fly back against the Japanese, but that took time to arrange that, okay? And then we went on and fought that war. But all that land, okay, we let the Germans keep their land and keep their culture, okay? Look at that. God, that light is driving me nuts. Here, let me see if that helps. Does that help at all? I mean, I'm just a camera and video guy. Come on. I mean, I can't stand it. Anyhow, oh, you know what? Javelina pigs. I would like to go after some javelinas. They're a lot different than these hogs down in Texas that are tearing everything up, okay? And Sherry, Arizona is awesome. I want to go to Arizona elk hunting in the worst possible way. They have big monster elk down there. Oh, the chicks. Somebody wants to know about the chicks. The chicks are doing great, okay? We actually, my kids raise those chicks, and the family keeps some, and then the kids get to sell some of those chicks. It's one of the great ways to teach your kids work ethic and also doing something for the family and being involved in the family. So it's really great. I just, but man, I'll tell you what, this Texas, they treated us great. We were eating barbecue all the time. I mean, it's amazing. Up in Minnesota, you know what we eat for breakfast? Cereal or cakes and eggs. You know what they eat down here? Beans and meat. I was at this barbecue and I saw, oh, they got salad. Well, what are the salads? The salad was beans and meat. That was considered a salad, folks. That's a salad in Texas. We were pretty shocked, weren't we, Isaiah? Just didn't see, I mean, salad. We think Caesar salad, chicken salad, garden salad. Beans and meat was a salad, folks. Hoping we can buy our first, hey, independent mini. I'm excited about you getting a place in homesteading. And folks, if you, I know many of you probably listen to Q. He's gonna get a place down in Tennessee. He's leaving me as the lone conservative voice in Minnesota. He told me now he could move out because Minnesota was in good hands. That guy. Anyways, he may be streaming tonight with Nick and CanCon on his second channel, or I may be doing it. I don't know, but those guys have some things they want to break. So I just share that with you. I don't know how that's going to go down. He's got 2 strikes, so if he gets a third, he's down. That doesn't really benefit anybody. So if you're homesteading, one of the big things is finding a water source if you're thinking in terms of prepping. Just FYI. And I've talked to Independent on the phone, and we've talked about that. She's really looking for a place with... I started your chick video with my farm-raised husband, transported him back. Oh, gosh. I took Native American Studies in high school and learn about all the different tribes and their customs. Very interesting courses. Yeah, the Comanches, folks, and you'll read in here, if you get this book, Empire of the Summer Moon, which is just a brutal history of Texas, but they actually did the craziest torture techniques. I mean, like opening people up and putting hot coals in their stomachs, okay, folks? I mean, this is craziness, okay? Or just on their stomachs after they, cut off, certain body parts, folks. Yeah, it was just nuts, and it's all in here. So you have to be prepared for a brutal read, but it's a great read. I'm going to give you another book recommendation, folks. If you've never read it, I want to see on the chat who's read Tortured for Christ. I want you to just put in the chat if you've read yes. Just say yes if you've read Tortured for Christ right now. Okay? Chime in. I took a lot of gold art, cash. Anything else? Come on. Anybody read this book? Any yeses out there? Yeah, Great Lakes. I mean, so that's the thing about Minnesota. We got unending water. Nobody. Okay, so here the book is called Tortured for Christ. It's by Richard Wormbrand. Luis is a very tough read. It is brutal. And you will wonder with folks here today, oh, look at that. See, Jeanette said, had the book, stomach too weak. It is absolutely unreal. I mean, so you saw the film, but read that book, Tortured for Christ. It is absolutely unbelievable. What those people went through, Fort Worth. Well, Fort Worth, 35. You're just headed north on 35. Oh, geez. Anyhow, so, yeah, you're just shooting right up your Fort Worth side. Now we're outside of Fort Worth here. All right, yeah, 35W. There you go. You got it. Right up. Yep. All right. Sorry, folks. Had to help with a little. So there was all kinds of stuff with the native tribe the native tribes. It was not about Indian torturing Union, okay, and that's where that took place. I'm just gonna pull up maps for my son here. Bam, okay, and there you go. Oh no, I don't want that route. Sorry, folks, trying to help my kid out here. Just hold on one second. Directions, okay, and it's all these toll roads, tolls. What is up with all these tolls? Oh, I hate tolls. Folks, do you like tolls? I just can't stand them. All right, we're just doing it. All right, there you go. I guess we're going to take some tolls. I can't stand tolls. The worst tolls are in Illinois. They are commies out there. If you could drive around Illinois, any way, shape, or form, do it. I got a bill in the mail from Illinois, and they charged me $30-some just for the invoice. Okay? Colorado toll roads. You know, I haven't been on the toll roads in Colorado. These ones, there's plenty of them down here in Texas. Okay? Yeah, thanks, Independent Manny. I'm part of a Telegram group in Minnesota. If you're up in Minnesota, it's great political action. It's a solid group, and it's not my group. It's just a group I'm a part of. But they are involved group of people. Okay, so used to cost me $26 to see my dad in Texas. No tolls. Illinois, you can't go 1 mile without a cha-ching. That's right, Richard. And then their roads sucked for the longest period of time. They're a little better now. But yeah, the Tortured for Christ is when, you know, Christians in the Soviet Union, and literally you will read stories of dads having to, they wouldn't deny Christ, and their kids were getting beat to death in front of them. Okay? See, you need to understand the lengths at which these people went to spread the gospel, and then they continued to pray for these people. Okay? We did take the 85-mile-an-hour loop around Austin, just Scotty, we did. But it's a heartbreaking, heart-wrenching book. It really is. But the thing is, people, and the reason I recommend people read this stuff, and a lot of people don't like the brutality of it, but it's true. And that's what you need to understand. Sin is real, okay? So you have to understand the depth of that so that you know what is possible and what you are fighting against. Because if we don't stop you only get to vote for communism once, folks. Once, okay? And then it's over. Now, there's some major things going on right now. I don't know if you folks know that Schumer's trying to force a vote on SB 1, which is the same as HR 1, okay? SB 1 is Senate Bill 1, and it involves all the bad crap of HR 1, folks, okay? I'm telling you, that is the line of demarcation, folks. It is the line of demarcation. We can't have that line crossed. Now, I could say it's unconstitutional. It can go to the courts, and then the courts will do whatever they do, but I don't want it to go there, okay? I don't want it to go to the courts because you don't know. It's like in the Bible, do you know that verse where it says, solve your dispute on the way to the judge with your enemy, okay? Solve that dispute on the way there because you don't know how the judge will rule, okay? I don't want, thank you for smashing that like, folks. I'm sorry, I got something in my eye. But that bill is basically trying to federalize elections, folks, to take it out of states' power. That's going to change every bill that's before all of these. Now, it's in the Constitution that the states are to run their own November events. Anyways, yeah, and it's in the Constitution. But look, folks, look at what happened this year. The state constitutions were not changed, and they still got away with making all of these changes under the guise of emergency powers, okay? And CCP virus. Okay, so we've got to continue applying pressure, folks, especially if you're in those swing districts. You have got to let them know that, but I say that, but that's old retail politics of old. I don't even know if you can say that, really, in a sense, because if they get this, they kind of get their way for a long time. But if you're in those states, you've got to apply more pressure, especially to the conservative members, to put up a bigger stink, okay? Yeah, there's no emergency. There never was an emergency. Okay? That's the problem. There never was. HR 1 nullifies 51 constitutions. You know, because we have 2 in Minnesota, folks. Because they're kind of the same, but anyways, we have 2 state constitutions. So it'd actually be 52, wouldn't it? Because it'd be the U.S. and the states, and then Minnesota's got 2. You know, just to say, hey, we hit 100. Thanks, folks. We hit 100. Smash that like if you just jumped on, please. I'm driving. I'm not driving. I am riding because my son is driving. Don't ever drive in live stream. But anyways, folks, China Bugs was accused to usher in. Yeah, it totally was. Folks, understand this, right? I know Nick in CanCon just got banned, but I want you to think about something. Think of all the channels that got strikes and taken down for questioning the virus. It was a hotter topic for the commies almost than the selection, okay? It was more because it set everything else up. Does that make sense? It set everything else up, okay? I mean, they are just full-on Nazi with that. Let's see here. It says I'm trying to reconnect. My connection is unstable. Unstable. Let's see here. You guys still see me? My connection is unstable. Are we back? Okay. The gateway. I did not read that about Yankee Stadium in the Mets game. Oh my gosh. Teddy Bear Blue, that is awesome. Is this thing still cooking? Okay, you do see me. It says it's not. Wow, I did not. Folks, did you read the Gateway Pundit article about the Trump one-flags the Yankees and Mets game? Beautiful. I did not. I have got to go see that. That is awesome. Wow. Folks, hey, the mask mandates are gone now, right? Except for a few states. I know some of you from California have chimed in about that. Washington, Oregon, that left coast is off its rockers. But there are still people wearing them. I mean, these are the true believers. Give them credit, folks. These are the true believers. And I even saw it down here in Texas. I was kind of surprised. I was in there at Buc-ee's. And some of these people were... Stay away! It's a China virus! Keep it away! Anyways, folks, thanks for joining me. I did this over on this stream just to kind of get my watch hours up, but I do really recommend this book and that Tortured for Christ book, okay? It's the Empire of the Sun Moon, and it's about Quanah Parker in Texas, and get it. It's been, hey, look at the pretty truck. Oh, did you see the pretty wheels on that truck? Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. That was goofy. So what is up? I'm sorry. I got to continue. I got a question. If anybody knows what the answer to this is, what is up with the people driving jacked up trucks with 2 small tires on it? What's the point of that? I mean, what, you going to go mudding with that? Oh, Michigan. I am so sorry, Regina. That's the trifecta of evil. Benson, Whitmer, and Nessel. You've got it bad out there. I mean, I got it bad in Minnesota. Regina, that's the worst. That is absolutely the worst. Folks, pray for Regina. She's in Michigan. Carol the Master gone. Oh, I mean it. You got to pray for that gal. I mean, Whitmer, I mean, did you just watch her speak and get like the heebie-jeebies about the evil? I mean, it's unreal. Out of a Starbucks today wearing a plastic shield. Hey, at least you can breathe with the plastic shields. So I went to Safeway with no mask and washed today, and the virtue signals were still wearing them. I just smiled. That's great. That's what I do. Okay, one time I went into the store and I had that on, or I didn't. Of course, I never have it on, but I went in and I was at the post office, and the guy comes in and goes, "You know, you're supposed to wear. Where's your?" You know, and I just looked at him and I went like this. That's all I did. I just laughed at him. I mean, it was just pointless. These people are pointless to argue with. I mean, they're just nuts. They're over the top. Discord, too. You'll see a lot of familiar faces. Great place to share links and communicate directly. Hey, I'll check that out. Independent. I don't even know what Discord is. I'm trying to keep up with my life right now. I'm trying to keep up with it's nuts. And hey, there's Constitution Vet right there. See it? It's just great. Here, I'm going to go through comments. Hey, folks, I want you to do me a favor. If you have something you want covered, put it in the comments here. I want some show ideas for Neil of the North. And if you have a specific question you want to ask right now, put it in the chat there, and I'll do my best to answer it if it's one I can answer. A lowrider. They're stupid. It's just nuts, okay? And I am on a lot of platforms, okay? And Independent shares those. I'm on Gab and Rofkin. School of the World, you posted about this Rofkin a few times. I'd never even heard of it. Rofkin. I'll check it out. Let's see. Come on, folks. Chime in with some comments here. Want to know what you want covered or what questions you want answered. And I am going to put together a video of the hog hunting trip. We got treated great down in Texas. And I would like camel toe space covered. I wasn't talking about that. I want to know what you're hearing from the homeschooling community about the jab. I mean, the homeschooling community as a whole is just not down with that. None, Teddy Bear Blue. Yeah, so Ken Eyring was talking about too. Yep, okay, I can get on that. Nick's supposed to have already put up a locals channel, folks. Thanks for asking. It will just be under Nick Moseder, so go check it out. Go search it. I'm on locals too. Folks, I know we ask you to subscribe to these backup platforms, and some people are like, oh, it's too many platforms, and I know we're on a lot. Just subscribe to one or two of them. I mean, if you don't, you'll just lose the communication, folks. So, I mean, that's the thing. Purge our FBI, absolutely, totally, completely. Hey, thanks. Love you guys too. Okay, the Ken Eyring, okay, Harry Hursty up. Rofkin does a good job of keeping the buffering down to a dull roar. In my experience, all tech platforms often have buffer stutter issues. Okay. Join locals today. Thank you, Charles. I'm at Lumberjack Logic on locals. Nick wasn't on there yet. You can find me. CanCon is on there at CanCon. Just Scotty, I'm going to say it was mail-in Dropbox related. That's what I'm going to say. We light up our vehicles in Texas. You can also, if you want to follow the Wyndham, New Hampshire audit, they are on Facebook. Okay, just so you know, it's New Hampshire Voter Integrity. I think I follow them on there. So no one's seeing Nick. Here, I'll try and give you some. You could read how cowardly the UN are not by enforcing human rights. Oh, that's unreal how they don't. Yeah, the Human Rights Council is made up by a bunch of jokes on there. The bear left, folks. I don't know, won't come back. I couldn't believe it. Been on your local since it started. Thank you, Jeff Scotty. I've seen that. Yeah, Matt, join locals, please. Or, like I said, we're on Odyssey. You know, all of us, I want to say most of us are on Odyssey because it automatically backs up all of our YouTube videos. I am on Rumble. I mean, everybody keeps saying post to Rumble. I do post some stuff there, but I don't post everything there. So that's a real thing. But it's hard to, you know, the nice thing about Odyssey, look, folks, you want to hear some news. I'm down there close to the border. I mean, we were still 100 miles from the border or something. But right on that ranch that we were at, they had problems. Okay, we're not talking people coming to do, you know, some work, looking to help their families. These people were running, it was human trafficking, it was drugs, it was that kind of stuff. And they got apprehended on the ranch. And then the truck was left there, and then they had to dispose of the truck. But it was, yeah, they've been dealing with it. And so we were always armed, okay, because sometimes those folks are armed because the coyotes are armed, okay? Saw Nick in 2 places on Telegram. Took me to the right one. Yep, so Hizzy's got a Telegram too. I do not have, I'm on Telegram, but I don't have a channel set up. And I tried to set one up, and I ended up setting up a group, so I apologize. I'll have to get on that. Yeah, man, I understand it's a little clunky, but sometimes one of the things we have to appreciate too is that sometimes when we're at the beginning, the leading edge of a movement, YouTube was clunky at one time too. So I'm not going to just go, well, they're clunky, so they're bad. I think they're clunky because they lie to me. They tell me that my videos are monetized, and they ain't paying me a dime. They say I made $2, and then they don't pay anything out. So, you know, when you're creating a lot of stuff, I'd like to cover HR 4310, signed by Obama in 2012. People need to know. Salt and Papa, what is HR 4310? Help me out on that. I don't have that one on the tip of my tongue. Telegram is pretty easy to use, unless you're trying to set up a channel and stuff. That's where I got lost a little bit on it. Because it's very unfriendly to someone who doesn't have a smartphone. It is, because you can't hardly access it on the computer. I get that. But Hizzy put a direct link to Nick's Telegram. Allows you to speed up the videos, which is a plus. You know, just so you know, you can speed up the videos, I know, on Rumble, and I think I've sped up videos on Locals, but you can easily speed up videos on Rumble. I cut back on everyone but a few. You know, I find very interesting all sorts of things. History, God, government, Paris. Thanks, Vanessa. I know it's, you know, you have to choose who you're going to follow, what you're going to listen to. You can't obviously listen to everyone all the time, every video they put out. So, but do join, you know, you can join Locals. I'm on Gab. I'm at Lumberjack Logic on Gab. And I love Gab. I do post videos and stuff to there. I'm not on it all the time, but I do use it as a news source. To me, it's a lot better than Twitter. Seriously. It's a lot better than that. So there's speed up on Odyssey too. Okay, I haven't watched my videos on Odyssey, so you can live stream on Odyssey now? I'll check that out, okay? I'll check that out. It does get overwhelming. I get that, folks. But, you know, you're going to have to learn a few others if you want to, I mean, seriously. Quick, go watch Marcus D. Marcus D had a great video today, folks. Do go watch his, he did a video. It was fantastic. Marcus is funny. He's great. If you haven't subscribed to Marcus, do so. He does a great job over there. So, and they're fun, and they're kind of quick-paced, and I just like how he edits them and everything. It takes some time. So, join Odyssey today as well. Look, see, this is the thing, folks. Every time they do this, so it's just like, you know, if I went back to this book, I'm going to give you an example out of this, right? So the Parkers, they go out and they spearhead into Indian territory, right? And then the Indians come back and they crush them. And what does it do? It creates a rising of the military. The general goes in and they crush the Comanches. Okay? That's what's going to happen here. The harder they try to take down patriots, the more those people are going to step up, and the audience will step up and subscribe to other channels, and eventually those other channels will grow. And that's what we need to do, folks. That's why, you know, subscribe on Locals. Subscribe on Locals has a great community aspect to it. So I encourage you follow on Locals. I don't get all the videos posted over there. As time goes on, we'll end up posting more. But that's how this works, right? They do that, and then we rise up. So thanks so much. Yeah, we've got to fight back, folks. I still, you know, YouTube is by far the biggest reach, so I keep on here. But if I could get more people just following on Odyssey or something, that would be great. But I'll continue to do some posting here on YouTube because, quite frankly, it gets out to a different audience too. That's how we get trolls. Anyways, thanks so much for listening, folks, to Neil of the North, and I'll do a few more. I'm almost at my watch hours over here, so I'm just trying to get that up, and you know, and I'll keep live streaming about other things like history, books, that type of stuff over here. It won't be a ton of politics. I will talk about politics as it relates to freedom, free enterprise, or capitalism, if you want to call it, but I call it free enterprise. Also, Second Amendment is really big. So I'll be talking about those issues that it relates to freedom and free and independent living. But the other stuff I'm going to continue covering on Lumberjack Logic, my bigger channel. So I just wanted to let you know that. That's kind of how I'm utilizing these. And then my Fearless Photography guys, that'll never be political, folks. Fearless Photography guys is just photography and videography. And I think Fearless, some of you had subscribed to Fearless Photographers, but it's Fearless Photography Guys. Okay, Fearless Photography.